Well, artificial intelligence is here and it's coming for our jobs. At least that's what the alarmist headlines like to say, but the jury's still out on that one. But well, Microsoft has published its annual Work Trend Index, surveying 31,000 workers across 31 countries, which then found that 2024 is the year that AI at work gets real. So here to talk us through the results is Peter Maquera. He's the CEO for Microsoft Philippines. Peter, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for coming all the way here to be with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
It was a pretty hefty report. There's lots to break down, but one of the numbers and one of the things that immediately stood out to me was the number 75%, because 75% of your respondents say they're already using AI at work, right? A whopping 90% say it helps them save time. I think we have that graphic actually. Let's take a quick look. As much as 75% of your respondents say they're already using it. 3 out of 4 people essentially are using AI at work. Talk us through that, the significance of that, and how exactly are they saving time using AI?
You know, I thought actually the number is higher. A really interesting statistic is that the Filipinos, there are 31,000 employees surveyed across 31 countries. 1,000 of them were Filipinos. What's really interesting is 86% of the early adopters are the Filipinos, which is higher than the global average of, let's say, 75% that are already using it. So I think it's very encouraging, actually. Like it reminds me of back in the day of Facebook, when the Filipinos were the highest users. And I think part of the reason is, you know, we have the youngest population in the region at 25. So our workforce is born digital, right? So I think it's encouraging in the sense that, you know, we're early adopters and we're very adept and can adapt quickly and leverage the advantages of it.
How are people saving time? That was the second part of my question.
I think what you do is, I've been using it every day for
What
over
do you
6
use it
months.
for specifically? Can you share with us?
Yeah, so this is fun. I've been on vacation for about a week, and I promised myself, don't look at your emails the whole time, because there was this prompt that we were sharing across Microsoft that I really wanted to try. By the time I got back, I went to my Copilot and I asked, summarize for me in tabular form where I show up as an approver and tell me what I need to approve. So it's gone through hundreds of emails over the past week, and it just showed me helped me focus on what I needed to do. Is that crazy?
What did it do with the rest of your emails, though?
Well, it's still there,
Straight
but I wanted to
Straight
make
to
sure I didn't slow anybody down, and I approved what I needed to approve so that the business can run.
Is this Copilot that you're talking about?
Yes, it's on Microsoft
platform?
Office. It's embedded, has embedded a lot of the OpenAI AI tools. Yeah.
And what other practical aspects does AI apply at the workplace? I mean, apart from that one, which is obviously a time saver.
Yeah.
How else is AI being used now?
What's amazing about it is it affects every job, every department, every function. So what I try to encourage companies is you start with a persona, right? So if I'm a recruiter, for instance, I could say, well, write me a job description for a computer programmer and the qualifications. And then I get 100 resumes, right? Then I put that in my file and I say, rank order and recommend for me the top 3 candidates based on the job I'm looking for.
Out of curiosity, Peter.
Is that crazy?
It's pretty crazy in the sense that we're going beyond using AI to generate content now.
It's
now
actually
that's
choosing.
Virtual assistant jobs.
Yeah, but that's what I
right?
wanted to ask. How were the picks of AI vis-a-vis your actual picks? Did they match up in terms of preference? Did AI perform?
So that's a really good question, right? Because the product's called Copilot, so you're still the pilot.
Right.
We just gave you a Copilot genius, but you're still accountable. Right? You still, it's embedded with annotations, so you can actually trace the prompt and how you instructed it to do what it does. you can trace it down to the data, so that before you approve it, you as the pilot needs to be accountable for that recommendation.
Okay.
I guess Sean wants to know if
want-
if it miscategorized something
No, I
important,
mean-
sent it straight to junk when in fact you needed to respond to it.
Or you needed to be accountable for it. So
Well,
whatever you do,
accountability,
right?
I think
So-
we haven't done a workaround on that specific issue. But bringing it back to the survey that you had, another interesting thing is this bring your own AI concept that has materialized where employees, perhaps because their companies are stuck in the past or stuck in the year 2000, they're not yet using officially AI. But they do use it to make their personal lives easier. I imagine it wouldn't be so hard to, use AI to screen your emails and do all of these mundane tasks that waste a lot of time. Maybe it could help me clear my Viber messages out, right? Is that a risky proposition, allowing employees, or maybe not allowing employees, but having employees bring in their own AI? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it is, and it certainly can be, but you can contextualize, right? So if you're just using it to write recipes or plan your itinerary, you're not going to kill anyone or harm anyone. But the danger that you'll have is data privacy. Right, so if you're in an open language model, your information is among the 25 billion pages in the internet that is being used to train data. So if you're taking company data, then you're at risk of that privacy being breached.
Which data sets are you working with the closed platform? For example, is my email linked to everything else?
No,
My
So
messaging
if you're on a
everything else?
Microsoft subscription, then your data is bound and it's private from what we call the wild, or being out in the internet. So your data is not being used to train models.
It's harvesting data from which subset?
It's just it's your own data fabric. So it's the information in your own,
Your
your
own
own
account,
computer, your
so to
own
speak.
cloud, your own account. That's correct.
Okay,
So you're bounding it from the rest of the world.
Well, the way Regina led you in is that for how many years now, everyone's been so scared that AI is going to take our jobs. We already saw videos of another network with their AI reporters. Is this actually something that's happening? Not according to your report. Your report says people are still very much in demand.
Well, the report
albeit-
says there's a hidden talent shortage, is what you call it, and actually, conversely, leaders are worried that they're not going to find enough talent to fill roles in the coming years, as opposed to what the popular notion is that, AI is coming for our jobs. Talk us through that.
Well, that's a fantastic insight, right? Because the jobs change. So the shortage is you're looking for employees that are adept at AI, but it's so new. So you have to upskill them. So I think the big opportunity, and so the answer to the job loss is, well, if you don't adapt, then if you're doing the low level task, then you'll probably lose your job. But the very promise of this AI is really different, right? The very promise is you've lowered the bar, right? Because it's natural language processing. You've lowered the bar for people to access the most powerful technologies. So the guy doing low-level tasks from before, he has a much greater chance to upskill himself than ever before.
Meaning it's easy to get into it.
It's
to learn
easier,
it.
right? Did you need instructions to use ChatGPT?
No. But
You just prompted in natural language. Did you know how to code in
but
Python?
Peter, I have to point out though, I have to say, ChatGPT is pretty easy enough to play with on your phone. But if I am in the office, if I am at work, I do not consider that play, and therefore I would be a little bit nervous as an elder millennial here. I have this.
Is there such a thing? An elder
I think so,
millennial?
yeah. Up the upper
border.
range. At the border, almost Gen X, but not quite. So, having said that, how does one begin to upskill themselves? Are there actual courses? Can this be self-taught? Are there materials online? Can ChatGPT teach me how to use AI? Can AI teach me how to use AI?
Those are great questions. I would say there's probably 3 levels to it, right? There's if you use Microsoft Office 365, you know how I do it? I open it and there's this logo and I click it and I start talking to it. And what we do is, because we're required to use it every day, we start sharing prompts, like the one I told you coming back from vacation. That was from a general manager in Singapore. So, I want to try that, right? So when you start using it every day and you start sharing, that's really how we learn. We still have training programs. So there's programs on how to be a power user, let's say, and to continue to upskill and your
It's
mastery
like having hacks or
increases.
cheat codes.
So there's that, but then there's also, when people talk about jobs, there's also more like engineering jobs, like prompt engineering, right? So that one, of course, you would need training on. And then you have the planners and designers, because you have to, reorient your business model to be that AI confident company.
What are you seeing in terms of managers? Because, I mean, this is popular amongst the younger ages, but it cuts across generations. I saw your data. But there's also some shame over using AI at work. I believe 52% are reluctant to admit that they use AI. 50% makes them, I think it makes them look replaceable. Related to the bring your own AI data that we saw. So how do managers approach this? How can they make the workplace embrace AI, or how should they approach adapting to the technology?
No, so that's a great question, because I think the gap, right? So you have 86% of people already using it, not waiting for the company. But only 55% of the company are kind of developing a strategy to do it. That's the gap, right? So I think what needs to happen is the leaders of these companies haven't yet translated the benefit to the person to the overall broader impact to the company. So what I suggest to our customers is, take a persona in HR. There are probably 6, 8 personas in an HR process. Think about how each person gets transformed end to end, and then that gets you modern HR. You can do the same thing in finance, it's modern finance. You do the same thing in legal, modern legal, and then there's the overall. So that's how you develop the strategy and the building blocks so that your company is transformed as an AI company. And so you'll see the benefits on faster growth, greater productivity. So then you're not hiding to have AI, right? You're out in the open and everybody is sharing their favorite prompts.
But are we bound to lose some jobs? I mean, if this gets accepted
To add to that,
fully.
right? To add to that, the BPO industry, it's always, of course, it's almost like we consider it as part of remittances. Those are in dollars. You know how valuable that is to the Philippine economy, and for a long time now, that's also been under threat. And the answer to that, time and time again, was you have to upskill the BPO workers. That's always what they say. Can you tell us in 2024, because AI is real now, it's here and it's legit, how does that actually change, for example, a call center?
Yeah. No, I think that if they don't do anything, they will lose their jobs. However, it's interesting, right? So the wage differential between, say, the US and the Philippines is multiples. But you're giving the same AI tool. The AI tool isn't limited to the Americans. It's available to us, it's available to them. And you've lowered the bar to access it. So you still have the price differential, and now you've enabled the Filipinos a lower bar to move up the value chain. So it would seem to me that the value proposition of a Philippine BPO company, BPO has actually is if you're willing.
What's happened during the Americas, right? And from these more developed countries.
The pent-up demand for more outsourcing and offshoring is still quite significant. The looking for people at scale. It's hard to find 1,000 customer innate, friendly, customer service people in the United States. You can do that here,
Right.
right? And so now you're enabling them
Right.
with this incredible natural language-based tool to augment their capabilities.
Speaking
Wait,
of
wait, sorry.
go
We
ahead.
got to come back to the survey first. Talking about hard to find,
Yeah.
another graphic that came up in your report was 66% of leaders say they would not hire someone without the AI skills. That's interesting. If we could just flash that for a second. 66% say they wouldn't hire someone without AI skills, and yet here we are talking about a gap. There we go. The new hiring imperative. AI aptitude takes center stage, according to your report. And secondary to that, if we go into the industries, interestingly enough, there has been, in the creative industries, there has been an effort to upskill, right? Look at that, content writers at the top of the list in terms of AI usage. It's going mainstream in the content writing world. So content writers are upskilling. But talk us through the significance of the rest of it.
No, absolutely. So again, it's every job is affected. So what we're seeing in the Philippines, in the corporate side, it's the ones with, remember it's natural language processing, right? So it's the ones that have the most customers. Those are where we're seeing the largest value pools, where meaning there are no regret moves for a company to transform through AI. So you see a lot of the banks, for instance, really going after customer service, especially inbound. Are you enjoying your call center experience when you call your bank for help?
Never.
So, hopefully. Fortunately, I think the banks realize that as well. So what's amazing about this technology is it understands you in the context that you're calling, and you can have a conversation. So you're getting these organizations that are getting tens of thousands of calls a month, but they're resolving it through these, conversational bots so that 70% of them are fully resolved and never get to the personal agent. So imagine the customer satisfaction, the productivity improvement that's happening on the front lines.
You're
I don't
talking
know.
about
I find it
chatbots.
very frustrating to
Chatbots,
chat
yeah.
with bots.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not smart enough. Are you saying that in 2024 these bots will now get smarter, and we don't spend so much time running around in circles chatting
Yeah.
and them repeating what they said earlier?
Yeah, no, so how much time do we have? Because, I want to explain to you why it's really different. Prior to generative AI, a lot of the programming for bots or call centers was a linear intention based. So every time you come up with a new credit card, you have to program everything about the product, right? And then update your knowledge management system so they know how to answer. Every time you create a new product, before you know it, after 5 years, you'll have thousands of products and you'll have this very complex knowledge management system. So when you call, you imagine this person scouring through and can't find your data, right? But with this natural language processing and context, it understands what you're talking about. And when it looks at the knowledge management system, it not only, today you get links, but it actually reads the links and tells you the answer. So that average 20-minute handling time and you're frustrated has just been collapsed.
Okay,
And so
Peter, I
hopefully
just want to
improve
ask
your
you what
experience.
natural language processing actually means.
Yeah.
Do you press like some microphone icon and just speak to it and give it instructions?
No,
Or
so
yeah.
I'm
'Cause
sorry,
I'm pretty
I'm
sure I'm
sorry.
not the only one who's like, what is
Let me
natural
call it
language?
natural language prompting.
Prompting.
So meaning you're talking to it, rather than writing
Code.
a code for instruction. You just say, tell me about how to bake a cookie. So anybody can do that, right?
Right.
Are you also developing a capacity to, I guess, cross-check the information out there? For example, scan deepfakes and to be able to identify the authenticity of those through your system. Is there anything that you're
So
doing
no, that's
along
really
those lines?
important. So we call it responsible AI practices. So we've been at this for more than 5 years. We have over 300 people contributing to policy. The reason is what we're saying is this could be, as much as it could be amazing, it could be quite harmful because it's really a tool. I can write an amazing letter to you, but I can also write amazing malware.
Right.
And amazing fake news, right?
Correct.
So what we're saying is, for this to be a benefit to humanity, it needs to be safe, right? So filter for biases and hate. It needs to be secure. Your data your privacy needs to be preserved and intact, right? And it needs to be trustworthy. So it's you can't have fake news. So a lot of when we say responsible AI, those are the things that we're very conscious about, and we're trying to contribute to regulations, and we're developing technologies that watermarks what's fake.
So what if I
and
put,
that's right.
write me a code on how I could hack this website? How would
it should not
respond?
It
It
should not
should respond
answer.
with a judgment.
Because
You are
there's
doing it for
there is a larger
bad thing.
because there's a larger question here about whose responsibility is it to police the
Yeah.
technology, right? Is it the tech platforms? Is it everyone else? Is it the journalists? Is it regulators? Is it government? Right?
Yeah, I think that's such a great question, and my favorite analogy is like the cars. It's all of us, right? So when you develop a car, you want to make sure the manufacturer is giving you a car that works, it has safety belts, and when something goes wrong, you can put on the brakes.
Right.
The government has a role. They need speed limits. They need rules around, not drinking,
Drunk driving.
drinking, driving while you're drunk. And then the individual can't be running people over and exceeding the alcohol limits. So we all have to be part of it.
Right. That's a great analogy. And we will leave it there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and
Thank
insights
you.
tonight. Peter
Really enjoyed
Maquera,
it.
CEO of Microsoft Philippines.